Just like how vinyl records still remain in the time of digital music, vintage cameras are still being produced and used today and are also rich in terms of collection value. Tai Yuan is a hardcore vintage camera collector. Unlike other collectors, he specializes in large format camera collection. This kind of camera is not so easy to find due to the very small quantity of these cameras in existence, while there aren't many more manufacturers in the world.
I was on a business trip in Japan. After I finished my work, I thought about looking for a famous view camera manufacturer in Japan called Evany. It happened to be only 10 kilometers away from my hotel, so I went there. The manufacturing is very small, as there are only 3 people, the owner and 2 workers. And they recommended this camera to me, a 16 by 20.
Evany cameras are universally recognized as the world's finest professional flatbed view cameras. Every camera from here is made from ebony, but this one is not entirely made of ebony. The owner told Mr. Tai the story behind it.
More than a decade ago, there were 5 American photographers who came here and ordered this particular model. This manufacturer only uses ebony as the material to make cameras. But it would be too heavy if you used ebony on such a big camera. So the photographers brought mahogany here and made them. There were 6 cameras made in total. The 5 photographers took 1 camera each, and this one is left in the warehouse. Not many people do large format photography nowadays, so they couldn't sell this camera. However, from the collector's point of view, Evany is one of the most famous brands in the field, and the overstock of this camera makes it the only brand new one in the entire world, so I bought it with a decent discount as well.
On the way back from his trip, Mr. Tai found himself another unexpected item.
I heard their 2 lenses have a nickname called the Golden Teeth. They offer the largest image field in the history of photography, and only about 300 of them are produced. But they are a very nice collectible item.
It's already become a habit to look for the local vintage camera manufacturer or store wherever he travels. Sometimes he'll even make a special trip to a country just to buy the cameras he loves. The Lotus View camera from Austria is Mr. Tai's favorite. A couple of years ago, he flew all the way to Austria and found the camera manufacturer.
The manufacturing shop looks more like a little workshop. There are only 5 people working there, 1 salesman, 1 supervisor, and 3 workers. The entire production process is by hand. Therefore, the productivity is very limited. The only material that they use is cherry wood. A lot of major manufacturers like Nikon and Canon have tried to buy their business too, but they never sold it. The reason is simple. They want to make sure that their descendants can live on this unique business.
There are 10 models of Lotus View camera, from the image field size 4x5 all the way to 20x24. There's no stock of any type of these models, not even a sample. So people can only place an order with a certain quantity for the model they want. The production is a meticulous process, so people usually have to wait for a couple of months until the delivery arrives. Aside from the fact that the vintage camera can shoot pictures in very classic style, another reason why Mr. Tai is such a fan of vintage camera collection is the story behind it. Deerdorf is another famous manufacturer of large format wooden cameras. Mr. Tai has a brand new one that's just as precious as the Lotus cameras to him.
Although many pioneers of large format photography used Deerdorf, Ansel Adams is the most famous one. But due to the technology revolution, the manufacturers stopped the production of this camera in the 1970s. Since then, most of the collections are used cameras. However, there are many accessories left in the warehouse. Until 2001, the manufacturer started to produce the camera again, so they assembled several cameras with old accessories like 100-year-old wood. I bought one of them, the number 001, that number meaning it was the first one that came out of production.
Mr. Tai told us he does photograph with some of the cameras too, and he's still in the process of learning and practicing since he's not a professional photographer. But the charm of the classic-style pictures that vintage cameras offer have completely captured his mind. He's also looking forward to producing more and more artwork in the future.